So last fall, I received a phone call from Hillcrest that they had a deceased student out in the parking lot. That was just a really, really tough, tragic day. And Monday was second worst phone call. I was actually at Falls Valley Elementary and just visiting there, out greeting students as their parents are dropping them off, and I get the phone call that we'd had a bus accident, which happens. I mean, typically we get 2 or 3 like fender benders in a year, but in this case it was a bus accident. We have students injured. We have students being transported to hospitals and ambulances. The bus is tipped over. The driver of the other vehicle is deceased. I mean, just really, really tough news. So certainly impacts you, but you know that we have to be there. We have to respond. I'm just really grateful. I've got a really good team I get to work with. And so I went to East Idaho Regional Medical Center. Jason Lords went to Idaho Falls Community Hospital. Heath Jackson actually went to the site. And then we had a great communications team here in the office. So between the 4 of us, we were able to coordinate and be everywhere we needed to be to handle that. So it was a tough day, but really just a testament to the teamwork that we have, and I just can't express enough gratitude that our kids, while they were certainly banged up and we had some injuries, none of them were critical or life-threatening.
And with that, talking about the students, there was a few students Monday that kind of stepped in. We talked to Isabel. How does that feel to have students that be willing to, a bus that they were fearful that would catch on fire and told everyone else to get off, but they were staying to help those that were hurt? Yeah,
it was actually yesterday morning I had the opportunity to look at the footage from the bus, and that's our great sheriff's department is still investigating the accident, so we can't release that footage yet. But as superintendent, I had the opportunity to go over and watch that, and this will be a surprise to people that know me, but I got teary-eyed seeing how our kids responded. And so a couple of things that just I think have stood out to everybody that's watched that video is, of course, the accident happens just absolutely incredibly quickly, and all of a sudden the kids go from just being on a normal bus ride to all of a sudden they're tipped over and they're upside down and laying on top of each other. And it's just amazing to see how almost immediately the kids start turning and helping each other and talking to each other and ask each other, "Are you okay? Are you okay? It's okay." You know, some kids are dazed and they don't know what happened. They're saying we're in an accident. And then just very, very quickly, they're opening up the rear door. Fortunately, one of the ceiling panels had popped out, and so they were able to exit through the roof. And immediately, kids are helping each other get out of the bus. And of course, as you mentioned, our bus driver was unfortunately his seatbelt did not release, and so he couldn't. He was stuck in his seat. As students came back into the bus to check and see who was helped, we did have one student who was pinned and couldn't escape from the bus, and so students came in and tried to help her. A student went and the driver directed her how to cut his seatbelt so that he could free himself. And then we had some good Samaritans, some adults that came onto the bus that were able to free the one student who was pinned there. So just incredible to watch how our kids responded, how adults responded, how everybody just, in a really, I'm sure, just traumatic situation, responded with calm and compassion for each other.
And you get emotional. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
I remember getting the call that, hey, I was on my way into the office and I got a call about this, and your heart kind of sinks through that. And it is hard.
Yeah.
What do you just wish people would know going forward?
You know, I'll just say I really don't pay attention to social media much, but I'd heard through the grapevine that as this story broke on news, that there were people on Facebook criticizing the driver with having no facts about the situation at all. And I just wish overall that as a country and as people, we were just a little more patient, a little more understanding, that we gave ourselves time to understand situations before we rushed to judgment. Our driver is nothing but a hero in that situation. There's nothing he could have done to avoid it. Again, the sheriff's office will investigate the situation, but I think it was just a pure accident, a tragic accident, and I just feel so much for the loss of the life of the driver. But people sometimes make mistakes when they're driving, and sometimes those can have tragic consequences. So I just overall wish people would just take a step back, take a breath, and be grateful for the outcomes and not rush to judgment, and especially when we don't know the facts behind them. But I'll just say our bus driver and our entire transportation staff, I just can't say enough good about how professional they are and how dedicated they are to drive our kids and get them to school safe every day.
And I'm told from students over there, he would not leave
Yeah.
the scene until all the students were taken care of.
Yep. He was
And
the
then-
last one to get to the hospital that day. He was feeling some pain from it. If anybody's ever been in any type of an accident, even though the seatbelt protects you, you typically feel a lot of bruising and those things. But he was the last one there, and he made sure all of his kids were taken care of. He came back onto the bus to get his first aid kit to go out and treat the kids and take care of them. And then he was back on the job the next day. So just incredible.
He didn't take time off. He was
Yep.
out there.
Yep. Wanted to be there for his kids to show them it was okay.